Hi, my name's Joe, and today I'm going to be doing a demonstration on how to make Italian sandwich thins and Italian style bagels. Um, Go ahead and do a screen capture on this so you can see what the ingredients are, and then we'll start covering the equipment and putting everything together. All right, let's start putting this together. The first thing we're going to do is to put the brown sugar into the mixer. We're going to pour in the 1 ounce of olive oil, and the 20 ounces of water. I like to get these ingredients mixed together before I start getting the flour. Just going to give a quick twirl here and get it blended. Okay, that's really all it takes. Now we're going to add the salt into the flour, and I'm using sea salt. You can use kosher salt, you can use table salt, any one that you like. But don't leave out the salt. If you say, oh, I'm worried about salt and my blood pressure, then don't eat bread. This bread will have zero flavor without the salt, so you have to have salt. The yeast, 0.4 ounces or 2.5 teaspoons. I'm going to sprinkle that in. And then I'm going to blend this so it doesn't end up all in one spot when it gets into the mixer. Okay, that's pretty good like that. Now I'm going to put about half of this mixture into the mixer. Maybe a little more than half. And I'm going to put on my splash guard here because it can make a little bit of mess. It wants to blow up out of the sides. And I'm going to get this starting to mix. That's coming together, so now I'm going to slowly add the rest of the flour. All right, we're going to let this mix a little while. You can see that it's not sticking to the sides and it's starting to have some composition to it. And we're going to let that go for 7 minutes. Okay, our 7 minutes is up, so now we're going to take the dough out and get it on its first rise. I like to get my hands with a little bit of flour and take this guy, take the dough off of there, off of this leg, and then pull the dough out. It's slightly sticky, but not to where it's going to stay on your hands. So, but I like to just throw a little bit of flour down, and I'm working the dough. I'm pressing and moving it away and then pulling it back, rotating, doing the same thing again. What I'm going to do is to create a ball, and I'm just bringing this together. I'm not trying to kill the dough, and shaping it into a nice ball. Now we're going to go on first rise for about an hour, and I'm going to put a little bit of cooking spray into this pan here. And then take the smooth side and put the smooth side on there and then flip it over. Now it's going to, you can cover this with a cotton towel, but I find I've always got a lot of these bags, so I take and put this inside the bag, tuck it underneath, and let it sit in a warm place. Alright, we've got the dough. It raised for an hour, and you can see it's gotten substantially larger. So what I'm going to do is dump it out on my work surface and split it with my bench knife. You can use a regular knife if you don't have one of these. And one half will be used for sandwich thins, the other half will be used for making our bagels. So we're going to do the sandwich thins first because those will cook off faster. And basically all that I do is stretch this dough out. I don't degas, knock down, break out, whatever, like you see on some of the bread baking videos. I have my scale set up, and so what I'm going to do is start portioning out 1.8 ounces. And set it off to the side. Okay, I have 12 portions cut out. I'm just going to take this excess dough and put it back with the other dough to be used for the bagels. Now I'm going to take each of these and I'm going to push them in the center and shape these into a ball. I want them to be kind of smooth. You'll have to play with this. I like to have them smooth on top because they turn out with a different texture on top of the sandwich thin. They have a nicer presentation. Okay, we're going to let that sit for 2 or 3 minutes to relax the gluten. Okay, we've given them a few minutes to relax. What I'm going to do is, since most people don't have the tortilla press, this is pretty much what you can do. You can take and put the dough down there and kind of flatten it with the palm and heel of your hand to start shaping it into a disc like that. And what I do is I give them a little bit of room in between. Alright, I've got them all pre-shaped as small discs. Now this is the part where your rolling pin skills come in. Basically, you want to take and roll your dough out to where you're going to end up with about a 5-inch disc that you're going to want for your sandwich thin. And you see me going around some of the edges because you want the dough to be fairly even in thickness. That way your sandwich thin is going to... Okay, we have all the 12 sandwich thins rolled out into a disc. Now we're going to dock them. If you don't have the docker, you can take, like I said, a large serving fork and poke holes in it, and that'll be just fine to be able to let the air escape and not to end up with big blisters. If you get a docker, if you want to make these sandwich thins and you find you're going to make them frequently, spend the money. I think this was a relatively expensive one at 16 bucks, but I think you can get them for less. What I do is from the middle I go out and then back. And now they look remarkably like what you have from the store if you buy the Sara Lee or other store brands of sandwich thins. Then delicately peel up the dough and lay them on your parchment paper that has the coarse cornmeal on it. These are going to be covered with a cotton towel. Don't use terry cloth because terry cloth leaves lint behind, and I just go ahead and take and cover these with that for about a half an hour. Alright, our sandwich thins are ready to go into the oven. So I've got some egg wash here. I use whole egg. You can use just egg white with a little bit of water in it and mix that up. I've got my brush. The spider's for something else. I've got some sesame seeds here, and I've got some poppy seed. And you can also make these plain. You don't have to put anything on top, but I always like to dress them up. So we've got these. They've risen a little bit. So get rid of that. And I'm just going to take and do a little egg wash on these guys. You could just add it in. So I'm going to do half of these with poppy seeds. And the poppy seed I got at the grocery store because I don't use a lot of it, but it's available at places like GFS in larger bulk. But I use a lot of the sesame seeds, and I do get these at GFS. A container like that runs around $8 or $9, but it will last me a good 6 to 8 months. And then sprinkle these on top. We like the sesame seeds, so I put a fair amount of them on there. And that's it. Now we're going to pop this into the oven and set it for about 14 minutes and then take a look at them when 14 minutes comes up. Alright, it's been 14 minutes. Let's take a look at these guys. There's not a lot of color on them. So I'm going to give them, actually no, I'm not going to give them any more time. We're going to go ahead and take these out. There's not a problem if there's not a lot of color. But I'm going to set these to the side. Let's see, turn this around so you can see where we're at. And what I like to do with these is I've got the stove going. That's normally where I put this pan. I take them and put them on a cooling rack. So there you have the sandwich thins. And you can see there's some thickness to them. And once they cool and get ready to be put into the freezer, I'll show you how I cut them. So what we're going to do is, here's our sandwich thin. I have a very good Henkel bread knife. My darling wife was kind enough to buy this for me one year, and it just stays with me. What I do is I take these at about the middle, and be careful when you got your sharp knives. And I cut horizontally and leave a little bit of bread uncut on the end. And as you can see, you end up with a beautiful crumb inside of your sandwich thins. And as long as you close these back up, and we're going to stack them and put them in the freezer, they will stay fresh for a couple of weeks. So again, halfway through, cut horizontal and leave a little tail end. You can always take that off later on. This guy came out, this is the one that I used the fork on. This got a little bit thin on the edge, and that's going to happen. You can't really sometimes control how the dough raises. But if you get one like that, you start with the thick part and just kind of carry your knife through, and you're able to end up with pretty close to, equal parts. And you can finish cutting it when you get ready to defrost it. And these take 12 seconds in the microwave to defrost from frozen, and then they're ready to go.